morning, everyone. This is Eva Hussein from Polaron speaking to you. It is Wednesday morning, so we are going to be talking to a very special guest. Today, I'm more excited. Am I more excited than last week when we had Kielbasa Bus? Maybe not, but equally excited. I wanted to welcome Victoria Obieglo, who's she's wearing a couple of hats, but one of the hats she's going to be wearing today is the Polish Festival at Fed Square. Good morning to you, Victoria.
Hello, Eva. Thanks so much for having me.
We're very excited because things are changing before our own eyes. We are in Melbourne. We've been in lockdown since 1927 or whatever it is. Everyone's a bit tired. So we're excited to hear from you about the festival, which is happening in November. And it's been going, I think this is the 16th year. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. So this year would be the 16th year of the festival running. And unfortunately, while things haven't really played out the way we've wanted to this year, we've been really lucky that we've now pivoted to an online virtual festival instead. So on the same festival day, the 15th of November, we're really excited to bring the tastes, sounds and colours of Polish culture to your living rooms instead.
And Victoria, the festival is such a massive success. I mean, and I think the vision of it from the very beginning was a little bit different than other festivals around the world, in that it's a real platform to connect people that aren't even Polish. It's a very open event to anybody. It's right in the middle of the city of Melbourne. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about the history of why it was set up and what it's all about?
Absolutely. So like I'm sure you're aware, like the Polish culture and community here in Melbourne has always been quite strong. And I think coming together and starting the festival was really about bringing these community groups together and celebrating our culture. And from there, it's grown to include, I guess, more groups, more participants, more performers, not only from Melbourne and Victoria, but from around the country and sometimes overseas as well. And I think the beauty of hosting here in the heart of Melbourne, normally at Fed Square, is that right in the heart of the city, we're able to share that culture with the rest of Melbourne. And it being such a multicultural city as is, it's been really receptive and we get such a great turnout every year. And we absolutely love, I guess, showcasing everything Poland and the Polish culture is about.
And I think you get massive turnout. So it's like between 40 and 50,000 people, which is a lot. And I think we've been part of it for a number of years, and we do have a stand. And last year it was so busy, and everybody wanted to taste the food, but also buy little trinkets and experience that Polish hospitality, really. But also there were a lot of musical events and lots of very interesting activities for kids. Very, very diverse and very inclusive for everybody. And because it's so near the train station, it also gets a lot of foot traffic from people that don't know anything about Poland. So, but when we chatted before we came online, you told us a little bit about your own involvement in the Polish community, and I was actually in awe of how much you have done. So not only have you been dancing in Polonez, which is like a dancing ensemble for about 12 or 13 years,
Yeah.
You've also been a scout. Tell us more about why you got involved, because I know you were born in Poland. You came here as a baby, 9 months old, with your parents and siblings. But who in your family drives this, involvement with the Polish community, or is it just yourself?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like you mentioned, moving to Australia as a baby, I would often hear my parents and my siblings who are a little bit older speak about Poland, and learning both the English and Polish language at the same time growing up helped as well. But I think it was more just a way for me to stay connected and have some way to relate to my family as well. Obviously, me coming as a baby, I didn't have the chance to grow up or experience Poland as it was. So getting involved in the Polish community here was my way of learning about the culture, about the country, about the history, but also carrying that on, because I'm definitely really proud of my Polish heritage. And it's something I want to keep alive.
And we're pretty resilient, aren't we? I think, there's nothing kind of very special about the community, the Polish community, I guess. But we are well known for hard work, being very direct, but also very resilient, because as a nation, we've gone through a lot over centuries. And I think the activities that you did as a child and carried into your adulthood and then included in the festival, and your knowledge that you have, I think it's something that needs to be really cherished and celebrated. And I think the festival itself is a celebration of all of that. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I think you've wrapped it up really nicely in that it is truly just a celebration of Polish history, of culture, of its food, of its people, of the community here and around Australia and around the world. Like you mentioned, I think we've got so much to offer, and it's such a rich culture that not sharing and not celebrating it like we do would be a shame.
And with how things have changed, so normally everybody turns up on a Sunday, 15th or 14th of November, around there. There are stalls, there are activities, there are events, there's a lot of fun. This year, we're not going to be able to do that, right? So you had to make a pretty tough decision early on. What do we do? So tell us, how has the vision of the festival developed into a hybrid kind of event, I guess, where we are going online, but what's it going to look like?
Absolutely. I think, like you said, it was a really tough decision for us to make. The committee was kind of watching every press conference and announcement that was coming out, just hoping that it would be enough for us to run the festival as we were planning. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened, and it's such a shame that we did have to cancel, but I think it's given us a great opportunity to do something new and different that we normally wouldn't have. And that's then also given us the opportunity to share the festival with people who might not have been able to attend, whether they're interstate, regional Victoria, or even overseas, but also get other acts and performers from around the country and the world really involved. So while we're still knotting out the fine details, what you can expect on the day is that both across our Facebook and Instagram channels and our website, we'll be sharing content both live and pre-recorded throughout the day from all of our participants. So you can expect things like cooking classes, dance performances, musical performances, learning about Polish history or culture and things like that. There'll be plenty of activities for the kids as well. But something we're really excited about to announce is that we've recently just spoken to a very well-known dance and song ensemble over in Poland. And they're really excited to be involved in our festival this year. So the Śląsk Dance Ensemble from so they'll be getting involved in quite a number of ways. There will be a lot of things coming from them to really showcase their talents and their expertise. And we're really excited to have such a big organisation come on board with us, because that's something we normally wouldn't have been able to do.
So for those of us who don't know, it is like a top performing, so there's Mazowsza and Śląsk and a couple of others, and to get into that you have to be exceptionally talented, and it's really a professional career. So the performances that you'll see will be nothing like you've seen before. I think that's just ever so exciting, and it's sort of also an opportunity, I guess, to mix it up and to give. There's no way that Śląsk would ever come to Melbourne. Well, not.
Never know.
You never know. Maybe next year, but not likely, because it's such a big undertaking, and it will be a challenge. But we can now bring them to Melbourne virtually, and I think reshaping things, and as you said, being agile and sort of rolling with the punches is what we all have to do, particularly in Melbourne. So I think the way that you've described it, that we look at it as an opportunity rather than an unfortunate event, is the way to go, right?
Absolutely. I think it's just reframing, like it's not what we originally planned or had hoped for, but it is an amazing opportunity to try new things and really push the limits with what we can do and share and how we can get people involved.
And Victoria, with your own experience, I know, because you told me, that you are working in the social media space, and this is your involvement as well with the festival. So your role is marketing, and could you maybe tell us about your own professional background and how that assists the festival in running this massive event? Because I think from what you're telling me, you're making it sound so easy, but I think it's massive, right? The work behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this year, more than ever, it's a little bit more time intensive in terms of promoting and putting things together, especially since a lot of it will be on online platforms. So it's definitely something new and different and challenging in its sense, but really exciting at the same time. So in terms of like, I've been working with the festival for a few years now, first purely as their social media coordinator, and now looking after marketing as a whole. So whether that be building relationships and partnerships and putting out press releases and getting in touch with media, as well as managing social media and content that we put out. So there's definitely a lot of little things to it to make sure we reach the right people and get as many people involved as we possibly can. And it's definitely something I'm really passionate about because it's what I do for a career as well, working in social media for REA Group, but then also recently launching my own business as well in the social media space.
And you've got a community of very, I'm so admiring of you guys because all of the work that you do is actually completely, volunteer. And tell us a bit more about how the community's work has, because I think in the past there'll be meetings and people would be able to sort of chat face to face. And has that changed as well now that everything has to happen on Zoom, or work changed for you?
Absolutely. So, like you mentioned, we are all volunteers on the committee, so we kind of give up our own free time and our skills to make the festival what it is. And I think we all share quite an equal passion about sharing the Polish culture, which makes it such a beautiful team to work with. But like you mentioned, we haven't been able to meet face to face for quite some time. I think we snuck in one meeting when the restrictions eased around June. But other than that, it has been a lot of Zoom meetings and kind of phone calls and emails to keep track, which hasn't changed too much. It's just that the meetings now are virtual rather than in person. But I think changing the format of the festival has definitely shaken things up a little bit as well, in that people are kind of getting out of their usual behaviours of how the festivals run and trying new things and thinking differently and taking on roles that they might not have previously done.
Mm. And Victoria, I think it's also fair to say, and I'm only speaking from my own experience because I have been involved in all kinds of initiatives that are volunteer. There's also, like it's not all happy families, of course, but it is a commitment that you guys have into making something that people love. But I know in and we're Polish, so we can say let's be clear here. That sometimes people don't share your vision or they want something else. How do you manage expectations? I'm really interested in knowing, particularly that you have to really change the way, because you had a tried and tested sort of festival that every year, they'd be bump in, bump out, people would come, thousands and thousands of people ate sausage, went home. But now it's quite different. So is there, do you have to meet different expectations, I guess? So how do you work out what it is? Because it's both creative, right? It's a fantastic opportunity to create something that you've never done before. What are some of the challenges of putting the event together, given that it's going online?
Absolutely. So I think the biggest challenge is that, like you said, it's something we've never done before. So it's completely new to us as a committee. I don't think anyone's ever been involved with kind of virtual events or anything like that. So it's something very new and exciting in that sense. But some of the biggest challenges other than that would be, I think, finding that common ground and what we actually each envision it as. So there was a lot of kind of discussion at the very early stages about what could work, what wouldn't work, what did people want to do. And I think as the roles changed within the committee as well, given that, for example, we couldn't look after physical stallholders or physical bump-ins or things like that, it was about what different skills the committee members could bring to the table and really just kind of being transparent about that. And also I think because it's been quite a challenging year here in Melbourne, being under these restrictions, like people have other personal things that are going on, they might be tired of being under restrictions for so long. So I think it's been really important for the team just to be transparent about what their capabilities are, what they can bring to the table, and being supportive of that. So I think it's been, like, as a committee, we've worked together for quite some time already. So we've developed those relationships and it's been quite an easy pivot to make. Something we have to still grasp, but it's been a relatively easy, I guess, transition to make for us.
And Victoria, has the community embraced this idea? Because I remember probably now a couple of months ago, I got an email, I think from Alexandra and somebody on the committee, and sort of tentatively asking, would you support us if we went online? We're thinking about whether do we run the event, do we cancel? Like, I'm sure that it sounded like a lot of angst actually to do the right thing. And yeah, immediately, and this was like late at night, I got them as yeah, sure, of course. But what about the rest of the community? Are they excited, or are they disappointed, or like what sort of feedback are you getting?
I think there's definitely been that little bit of disappointment that, which is out of our control, that we couldn't go ahead with the festival as we wanted. I mean, it's such a great day that people look forward to in the community to really come together and, like we said, celebrate our culture and our, like the Polish city and the community here. So that was, I think, a little bit of a shame that we went out, but everyone that we've kind of spoken to has been really receptive of the change that we've made and bringing it online. And I think it's just been great to be able to do that and not lose the festival completely this year, because I think that would have been even worse than just cancelling it. So I think the people that are getting involved are really receptive. I think the biggest challenge is, again, people have businesses to run, they have organisations to run. This is something completely new and different. So I think trying to figure it out together as we go along and how to make this work and what kind of things to prepare and how it's going to look on the day. It's definitely something new, and I think it's just been kind of keeping those communication channels open, being receptive to feedback as well, both ways, sort of feedback from us to participants and participants to us, and just kind of working out along the way what would really make this festival shine online.
And I think technology is going to be a massive aspect of it, because, you know, even if you completely over prepare, there's something bound to go wrong on the day. Like even these little sessions that we hold with Andrea, you know, sometimes till the last minute we don't know if things are going to click. So we're going to be definitely keeping our fingers crossed that everything works out well. And I think it is about that resilience and being faced with the problem. Let's face it, it's a problem that we can't do the festival, and thinking, okay, how do we creatively deliver something that's really good for the community, but in a different way? And I think, you know, the community will embrace it, because I think it'll be such a really nice window into the community and into what we can each contribute. And I think really credit to you guys for, you know, volunteering is a thankless task sometimes, because you do have to have a pretty good, you know, thick skin, I guess. You can't keep everybody happy, but it sounds like you're putting out a really amazing event, and we will watch that space. And you know, anybody that's watching that thinking about supporting, go for it, because I think whether you are a participant or whether, you know, like an active participant, or whether you watch it when it does come online, and that's going to be like a full day event, or how many hours is it going to go for?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have kind of enough content out there to fill up the day, but it's really about, I guess, what you as a viewer would want to get involved with. So if there's only a certain part of the festival that you're super interested in, you can just jump online and get involved with that. I think that's the beauty of the online world, is you can kind of pick and choose what you want to get involved with and not have to dedicate the whole day to getting out of the house. So it's really, I guess, you can sit there all day and get involved, but if you've only got a couple of hours in the morning, afternoon, that works just as well.
It sounds really exciting. So Victoria, 2016, 6 weeks of traveling in Poland. Tell us what happened, and apparently you loved it, but those of us that haven't been in Poland for a while, what would you say to them? Once we can travel, what is the first place they should go to and visit?
First place, that's a tricky one. I think thinking back on my trip back in 2016, it seems like forever ago now, especially after this year. I was really lucky enough to do kind of a loop of the country and visit some of the bigger cities. So starting in Warsaw, Warszawa, and then making my way up to Trójmiasto, so up to Gdańsk, Gdynia and Sopot, and then stopping in a few other places like Torun and Poznań, then over to, I'm trying to remember now, I think it was to Kraków, then to, it was possibly family around Wrocław, so both mine and my partner's family, his mum's side around Wrocław, which was really nice. We also did Zakopane, and then I think finished up in Warszawa again. So as part of that trip, we also took part in World Youth Day, which was in Kraków that year. So it was definitely a jam-packed trip, but gosh, it's really hard to think of a favourite now. I particularly liked Toron and Poznan. I think the vibe in those cities was really nice. Just beautiful, like quaint little cities. Not as busy as the bigger ones, which was nice. But also loved Zakopane, so would highly recommend that. I could just keep going. I think I loved everywhere I went.
Yeah, because Poland's pretty diverse. I think for people that haven't been, that's the biggest surprise. That when they get there, there's no such thing as this homogeneous grey, 1982 image. That's all gone, and it's really exciting. It's focused on tourism. It's focused on good customer service. The food's amazing. The sites are fantastic. And there's so much to do and see, and the only thing is that we can't travel at the moment. But what we can do is join the festival on the 15th of November. What time does it start? Do you know yet the timing?
Yeah, so it's the same as our festival day. We'd be going from 10 to 5 p.m.
And people can dip in and out. They can make their own sausage and pierogi, and it's going to be pretty interactive in that the types of activities you're going to be serving or intending to showcase will be fun and something for everyone. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So there definitely will be something for everyone, whether you want to jump in and get more involved and actually do or make something, or whether you kind of just want to sit back, relax and watch a dance performance or a musical performance, or whether there's something for the kids, whether they want to jump on and learn a Polish song with Śląsk, there's going to be that opportunity as well. So there's going to be definitely heaps to pick from, and like I said, you can kind of pick and choose, or you can sit there all day on your couch with your comfy slippers on and just tag along. I think the beauty is you really make of it what you want and what you enjoy. But like mentioned, over the next few weeks, we'll be sharing more about what you can expect, how exactly to get involved across our Facebook channel. So if you want more information, just stay tuned there.
Yeah, and I've been a great fan of your Facebook and Instagram accounts, because you put content that's very interesting and resonates with a lot of people, and you get massive engagement. Actually, I've seen that, and I'm very, very jealous of it, of course. But that's your doing, yeah, because that's your strength or area of expertise, social media.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what we've kind of just focused on a lot is I'm just asking what the audience, what they want to see, and I think the beauty of the festival is that people can learn more. So why not do the same with our social channels and share more about Polish culture, about history, about fun facts and things that you might not know, and just kind of promote that culture and history even more than we already do.
Victoria, I think you're very lucky, and we have your parents to thank for bringing you up with that, with Poland at home, because you obviously speak the language and you're very involved in the community. But if you could give us a tip for someone that hasn't been that fortunate. So a lot of the clients that we work with are maybe second, third, fourth, fifth generation even. What is one thing that really connects you to Poland that anybody can, apart from the festival? Everybody should come to the festival, whether you're Polish or not. But is there something that you could, suggest for people to do to feel them more connected to the heritage?
Absolutely. I think there's a few things that you could possibly do, depending on how much you want to dive in. I think the biggest thing for me was travelling to Poland. Obviously, when borders eventually open up, that I would highly recommend. If you can find out where your family is from, go to those places, see the towns or villages where they lived and what life would have been like for them. But also just travel around the country, see what it's like now, experience the food, experience the culture, the sites, the historical sites, the natural ones as well. I think that's a really big thing. Another option would be just kind of being open to learning more, whether it be watching documentaries or movies or reading books or just looking at stuff online. There's so much out there. I think that's something that I was quite passionate about, is learning about history, for example, and knowing what the Polish people went through and how they got to where they are now. It's something that really resonated with me personally.
These are great tips, because nowadays, even if you go to Netflix, there are a lot of Polish shows with subtitles, and a really good quality stuff. I mean, the Polish film industry has always been amazing, but I was born there and I'm biased. But I think anybody, even if you don't have Polish heritage, there's so much really, really good content that comes out of Poland now. And I think what I also say to people is not to really get hung up on politics, because some of the conversations that I can't, or what makes intermedia is not really a reflection of what Poland's about. So peek behind the curtain, see if you can explore it a bit more, and certainly there's people are very hospitable, very friendly. If they know, for example, that you want to learn the language, they will correct you. Yes, they will. But they'll support you, and they'll keep their fingers crossed on your learning journey. And whatever it is, there's a lot of content online, and festival will be one of them, of course. So we do have quite a few questions, Victoria. So I'll hand over to Andrea. But before I do, I did want to once again get you to tell us when the festival is and how we can connect, how we can support it, how can we get involved.
Absolutely. So the virtual festival this year will be on the 15th of November from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And that will be shared across our social channels and our website as well. In the meantime, if you'd like to find out more and stay tuned about, specific participants or what's going to be on and what you can expect, just follow along our Facebook page to stay up to date.
Cool. Thank you. Okay, over to you, Andrea, for questions.
Thank you, Eva and Victoria. Victoria, if someone cannot attend or join at the day of the event, are you going to record the online activities? Are they going to be available online afterwards?
Absolutely. So if someone can't make it at a specific time, the majority, there might be a few little bits and pieces that we can't, host afterwards because of the group's request. But for the most part, a lot of that content will be sitting on our website and our social channels for you to interact with at a later date.
Thank you. How do we get in contact with the festival? Let's say if someone wants to get the program of the festival.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either just shoot us a message on our Facebook page, or you can email us over at marketing@polishfestival.com.au.
How do we get the program of the festival?
Absolutely. So we're still in the midst of kind of finalising the exact program, but if you follow along our Facebook page, we'll be sure to share it as soon as it's ready.
All right, thank you. One more question. We know the festival has a lot to do with tasting food, dishes, but now unfortunately, with the event going online, this is not going to happen, right? How is the festival going to make it up for the audience in that regard?
Yeah, so I think there's a few different ways we're trying to at least bring that taste of Poland to your house, whether it be through like a cooking class with one of our food stalls, or possibly even them offering some certain promotions or deals where you can order from them to get, say, a box of food or a couple of meals or snacks delivered that you can enjoy throughout the day.
All right. And one more thing, Victoria, do you still accept volunteers for the festival, let's say for next year?
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone's interested in getting involved or would like to find out more, they can just, like I said, shoot us a message on Facebook or shoot us an email over at marketing@polishfestival.com.au. Thank
you so much. There's no more questions at the moment.
Thank you, Andrea. So look, we feel inspired. We feel excited. We feel slightly nervous because it'll be a very different experience for everybody, but it'll maximize your reach, because just because the festival is in Melbourne doesn't mean that you can attend no matter where you are. And I think it'll be a really nice way of exposing all that Melbourne has to offer, all that the Polish community in Australia has to offer, and connect more people, I think. So I wish you best of luck. We're actually going to be presenting maybe a couple of worksheets. This is a work in progress, but we're hoping to show people where to find information about the ancestors, the thing that you were talking about. We're still looking at what the format, what the format's going to be, and how to present it in a fun way, which is always a challenge when it's online. But we are very excited, very much looking forward, working with you and being part of the festival. And it is, I do feel very inspired. So I'm really glad that you were able to tell us about what you're planning. And I'm just going to hand over for the few last words, and just if you could spell out the name of your website so that people can look it up when they're ready.
Absolutely. So like mentioned, if you want to get involved, just follow us along on Facebook. So it's just the Polish Festival at Fed Square, and same on Instagram. If you'd like to head to our website, it's just www.polishfestival.com.au, just to follow along.
Excellent. So dziękuję I do widzenia. Thank you and goodbye, and we'll see you on the 15th of November.